Let's jump right into it. Number 8. The man who legally stole a house because nobody read the fine print. Picture this, you're browsing real estate listings and you see a gorgeous mansion listed for just $50. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, one guy in Texas didn't think so. Kenneth Robinson found a home worth $300,000 that had been abandoned for years. Instead of breaking in, he did something absolutely brilliant. He filed what's called an adverse possession claim, basically a legal document saying he intended to live there. The law in Texas says if you openly occupy an abandoned property for a certain period and jump through the right legal hoops, you can actually claim ownership. Robinson moved in, changed the locks, and even put up a no trespassing sign. The original owners were nowhere to be found, and by the time anyone noticed, he'd already established legal residency. The local authorities couldn't kick him out because technically, he wasn't trespassing, he was following an obscure but legitimate legal process. It's like finding a glitch in a video game, except this glitch could make you a homeowner. Number 7. The woman who divorced her husband to marry him again and dodge taxes. Here's where things get really creative. A couple in Argentina discovered that their country's tax laws had a massive blind spot. Married couples had to pay significantly higher taxes than single people, but there was no limit on how many times you could get married or divorced. So what did they do? They got divorced every January and remarried every December for over a decade. During their single months, they paid lower tax rates and kept more of their money. The government couldn't stop them because they weren't technically breaking any laws, they were just gaming the system like absolute legends. Each divorce and remarriage cost them a small fee, but they saved thousands in taxes every year. It's like having a subscription service, except instead of Netflix, you're subscribing to your own marriage. The loophole became so popular that other couples started copying the strategy until the government finally caught on and changed the rules. Number 6. The parking meter bandit who made millions by reading the instruction manual. Most people see parking meters as those annoying metal boxes that eat your quarters. But one entrepreneur in Chicago saw them as slot machines that always paid out. He discovered that older parking meters had a design flaw that nobody had noticed. If you inserted a coin and then immediately pulled the coin return lever, the meter would credit your account but also give your money back. Essentially free parking forever. But this guy didn't stop there. He realized he could do this repeatedly and build up hours of credit, then sell those credits to other drivers. Spent months walking around downtown Chicago, building up parking time on hundreds of meters, then selling the remaining time to drivers at a discount. He made thousands of dollars before the city figured out what was happening. The best part, when they arrested him, they couldn't charge him with theft because he was technically using the machines exactly as they were designed. The design just happened to be terrible. Number 5. The man who became a country to avoid paying child support. When most people want to avoid legal obligations, they might move to another state or hide assets. Leonard Casley had a much more ambitious plan. He decided to stop being an Australian citizen altogether. In 1970, Casley declared his wheat farm in Western Australia to be an independent nation called the Principality of Hutt River. This wasn't just some fantasy role-playing game. He actually managed to make it legally complicated for Australia to touch him. The key was a bizarre loophole in secession law that said if the government didn't respond to a declaration of independence within a certain time frame, it could be considered valid. Australia's bureaucracy moved so slowly that by the time they tried to shut him down, Casley had already established himself as Prince Leonard I. For decades, he issued his own currency, passports, and stamps. Tourists would visit his country, which was literally just a farm with a fancy sign. The Australian government spent years trying to figure out how to deal with him legally. While he never completely escaped child support, he made their lives so legally complicated that it cost them way more to pursue him than they would ever collect. Number 4. The company that legally printed free money using credit card rewards. Credit card companies offer rewards to encourage spending, but they never expected someone to treat their rewards program like a money printing machine. One guy discovered that the US Mint was selling dollar coins online with free shipping and no purchase limits. He could buy thousands of dollars worth of coins using his credit card, earn massive rewards points, then deposit the coins directly back into his bank account to pay off the credit card bill. It was like a perpetual motion machine, except instead of violating physics, it was violating common sense. He scaled this operation up to millions of dollars, earning enough airline miles to fly first class around the world multiple times. The credit card companies couldn't stop him because he was technically making legitimate purchases. The US Mint couldn't refuse his orders because they were required to sell to anyone, and the banks had to accept the coins because they were legal tender. It took months for all three institutions to realize what was happening and coordinate a response. By then, this guy had basically become a millionaire by exploiting the fact that government agencies don't talk to each other very well. Number 3, the radio DJ who legally owned the North Pole for Christmas. Every year, radio stations do crazy publicity stunts to get attention during the holidays. But one DJ in Canada took things to an entirely different level. He discovered that according to international law, the North Pole exists in international waters, meaning no country officially owns it. So he filed paperwork with the United Nations claiming the North Pole as his personal territory for the month of December. The filing cost him about $50 and some paperwork. Legally speaking, there was nothing stopping him because no nation had bothered to officially claim a floating chunk of ice in the middle of nowhere. His radio station's lawyers confirmed that while the claim probably wouldn't hold up in any serious legal challenge, it was technically valid until someone contested it. For one magical month, a random radio DJ in Toronto legally owned Santa's workshop. He issued press releases as the sovereign ruler of Christmas and even threatened to charge rent to any reindeer caught trespassing on his territory. The stunt generated millions of dollars worth of free publicity for his radio station and made him a local celebrity. The United Nations was not amused, but they couldn't actually do anything about it without spending more money on legal fees than the whole situation was worth. Number 2, the student who legally hacked his university's grading system by reading their own rules. College students have been trying to cheat the system since universities were invented, but this guy found a way to beat the game without actually breaking any rules. He discovered that his university's academic handbook contained a clause stating that any student could petition to have their grades reviewed by an independent committee if they felt they had been unfairly evaluated. The catch was that the committee had to include at least one student representative chosen by the petitioner. So he petitioned to review his own grades and appointed himself as the student representative on his own committee. The university's bureaucracy was so slow and disorganized that nobody noticed he was basically grading his own papers. He carefully improved his grades just enough to avoid suspicion, turning C's into B's and B's into A's. For an entire semester, he was essentially his own professor. The scheme only fell apart when he got greedy and tried to give himself a perfect score in advanced calculus despite never attending class. When the professor questioned how a student could ace a subject they'd never studied, the whole operation unraveled. But by then, he'd already graduated with honors using his artificially inflated GPA. Number 1. The man who legally robbed a bank by reading the terms and conditions. Most people ignore the fine print when they sign up for bank accounts, but Patrick Combs wasn't most people. When he received a junk mail check for $95,000, the kind designed to look real but actually worthless, he noticed something interesting in the tiny text. The fake check contained all the routing numbers and account information of a real bank account, technically making it a valid negotiable instrument according to banking law. Instead of throwing it away like a normal person, Combs decided to deposit it and see what happened. The bank's automated system processed the check without any human review, and the money appeared in his account within days. When the bank realized their mistake weeks later, they demanded the money back. But here's where things got legally fascinating. Combs had technically done nothing wrong. He deposited a check that contained valid banking information during normal business hours using standard procedures. The bank had accepted the deposit and cleared the funds according to their own policies. When they tried to reverse the transaction, Combs hired a lawyer who argued that the bank couldn't take back money they had voluntarily given him through their own incompetence. The case dragged on for months, generating massive media attention and exposing how little banks actually verify the checks they process. Eventually, Combs returned the money, but not before proving that the entire banking system runs on trust and assumptions rather than actual security. His stunt led to major changes in how banks handle suspicious deposits and became a legendary example of how reading the fine print can literally pay off. I'll make similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.